All right, what's going on, Giants fans? Doing a quick reaction to the Giants losing to the Jets 12-7 in the MetLife Bowl preseason game 1 for the Giants. Sloppy game offensively for the Giants. Defensively fine, but obviously it's preseason, so you got to take everything that we say with a grain of salt. But let's go through it. First, the guys who didn't play on offense, it was Daniel Jones, Galladay, Saquon, Shepard, Ingram, Shane Lemieux, Nate Solder, which is pretty interesting. He's like a backup offensive lineman. You think he'd play, especially not playing in a long time, but he is an older vet who's played a lot of games. And Kadarius Toney, who Joe Judge after the game revealed that he aggravated an injury, and they said they hope they get him back this next week. So keep an eye out for that. But it sucks to the first chance you get to possibly see Toney, they don't get to actually see him. On defense, basically all the starters besides Tay Crowder, Holmes, Shelton, and Aziz, who we're going to talk about. But the real story of the night is the starting offensive line. The starting offensive line played 3 series, and the big play is Matt Parrott on the first series of the game on third down gives up a sack. And it is a little worrisome because it was the same issues he had last year as a rookie and, coming out of UConn as a third-round pick was opening up his hips too early and not punching. And it was kind of some of the same stuff we've seen from Matt Parrott. So that is a little worrisome. Like that was my biggest fear was how is he going to look. Now after that, in the 2 series after that, he did look really good. Had a pancake on one pass play. Like he did bounce back well. So good on him for that. But it's a sack is a sack. Okay, you can't give those plays, especially on a third down. I know it's preseason, doesn't matter, but that stuff translates. So that is a little worrisome that there's some of the same issues that Matt Parrott had. Fixable issues, but some of the same issues, were stuff we were hoping that, maybe won't be completely gone after an offseason, but are still there. Kenny Wiggins didn't look great, but, he's not slated to be the starter regardless. Andrew Thomas looked pretty good. I will say Andrew Thomas, he got really good at trusting his athleticism. In the second half of 2020, I think he looks like he might be trusting it a little too much. Where there could be some plays where he gives up the edge, but he's protecting that inside. But he was athletic enough to pull it off. But I do think that's something to watch as preseason goes along. And then obviously into week 1, he had one play where he just tossed the dude. So he did look good. I don't want to be too picky. Will Hernandez looked really good, run and pass. You look at the Matt Parrott's sack and Will Hernandez is blocking his guy at the line of scrimmage. He's the lone guy there. Had a really nice pull, so that's good. It's a big year for Will. Last year of his rookie contract. Nick Gates didn't see anything bad, so that's a good night for Nick Gates. The backup offensive line wasn't great. Kyle Murphy, who was he was my number one guy to watch. I was watching him. He looked pretty good. Then he got the running back kind of rolled up on his back of his leg. He played like the next 2 plays. But he was limping, and they left the game. Hopefully it's nothing serious. I mean, he did play the next 2 plays, so, I would assume that it's nothing too crazy, but still something to watch for a guy who needs these reps. Like, he needs this shine, this spotlight, this exposure to really move him up. But the Giants are so thin on the interior right now. Like, if they didn't have this bad of depth, you would be like, that guy's going to be cut on Tuesday, that guy's going to be cut on Tuesday, because the Giants have to cut 5 guys on Tuesday. But they're just so thin right now, and you have no idea what Ted Larson is, who the guy they signed on Friday is going to be. So, offensive line, not like putrid, but that Matt Parrott sack is a little worrisome for me. I think the big winner of tonight is Carter Coughlin. We had 5 tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a sack, and he looked really good making that switch from edge to that inside linebacker spot. He looked very comfortable. He was playing aggressive with really good instincts. Like I said, the tackle for loss, like it was a 2-yard, tackle for a loss. And he still has that pass rush ability. So on third down, they line up on the tight end. What is he going to do? Is he going to cover the tight end? Is he going to drop back into a curl hook zone? No. He blitzes, get around the edge, gets a hand on that ball, strip sack. So and that was on a third down. So Carter Coughlin looked really good. He even had one mistake. And this is something I always talk about with linebackers, especially rookie inside linebackers, where they were running a blitz. Devontae Downs was blitzing up the middle. Carter Coughlin's read was the running back. If the running back stays in the block, you blitz. If he goes out, you're in man coverage. He plays it really aggressively, and the running back turns it out into a route, and he gives up the catch. So that was that was the worry, that like that was the bad play that he had. But it's like, hey, I would rather my young rookie first time playing the position play that too aggressively than a guy who just sits on his heels and gives up running play after running play and lets guys catch underneath, but he makes a tackle. So Patrick Graham's going to use this guy. He is extremely versatile, which is like the biggest thing for a Patrick Graham linebacker, whether it's inside or on the edge. So Patrick Graham's going to use this guy, and I'm excited to see how he did. Other guys on the edge, Azeez Ojulari. Now Azeez Ojulari, like I think one of his biggest flaws was like his strength holding up against the edge, and he was going up against Mekhi Becton, but he had one really good rep. Like Becton moved him a little bit, but he disengaged. Like, Becton got him on that initial punch. He disengages, bends, gets around the edge, dips his hips and his shoulders around the edge and makes a tackle at the line of scrimmage. So that was really good. That's what Azeez Ojulari did at Georgia. So it was cool to see him do it against one of the best run blockers in the league in Mekhi Becton at the left tackle spot. Ifeadi Odenigbo, he did not really play much until he didn't play at all really with the starting group, which is weird, but he did play well once he got out there. To go back to the offense, David Sills, some really good, like he was he had 3 catches for 49 yards, so the next best receiver had 1 catch for 21 yards. Damian Willis with a touchdown. Had a really nice play on the sideline. Had a pass interference called on him that got the Giants at 1st and goal, which we're going to talk about that play in a second. Had made some good plays, but he had a drop on 3rd down, and then the following play they throw him a fade, and he could have caught it. It wasn't like oh my gosh, how did David Sills ruin this? But what David Sills is supposed to be, this contested catch guy against a backup like Corey Ballantyne, got to make that play. You're battling for a roster spot. Got to make that play. But I definitely think he did more good than bad, especially on a game where the offense was just horrible in general. So the David Sills army can still fight strong. A good game for David Sills. It could have been amazing. It could have been great. Could have been the star of the show. But overall, I would say a good game for Sills. Now, he drew that pass interference, 1st and goal. Corey Clement, the running back, he looked better than Devontae Booker to me. Booker, Booker wasn't horrible. He had he averaged 4 yards per carry on three or 4 carries, I think. But he averaged 4 yards per carry. Corey Clement was averaging over 6. Good burst. On that Will Hernandez pull, made a big play. 1st and goal, fumbles. And that's why he's RB3 and not RB2, because Booker doesn't do that type of stuff. Booker does all the little things right. While Clement has that better speed than him and can have the bigger plays, Booker does kind of like all those little things the right way. So when you're the 3rd running back, you cannot fumble, especially on 1st and goal on a team that really struggled in the red zone last season. They struggled in everything offensively, but you can't have those fumbles. Now, I don't think he loses his RB3 spot because of that, but that needs to be like hey, dude, ball, especially with the way Joe judges, ball security has to be key, especially down there. So Sandro Platzkummer, the guy out of Austria, friend of the show, 48-yard run. That was cool to see. And Clayton Thorson, our QB3 is bad. I mean, he was 5 for 16, had the 1 touchdown to Damian Willis. But, I mean, he was flat out bad. He had 2 deep passes where it just looked like he wasn't even, trying to place it well. He was just throwing it up. And, could have had another touchdown to Damian Willis. And just totally threw it into the stands, basically. And then they went for it on a 4th and 7 in the 4th quarter. And he throws like an 85-mile-per-hour fastball to the check-down running back, who he was covered. It wasn't like the check down was wide open. It's like, hey, man, you got to go because everything else is covered. He was covered. It wasn't like his last-ditch effort, like being pulled to the ground. He had a little bit of time and just throws a fastball to the running back as a check down who is covered on 4th and 7. So, I mean, I know QB3 is not the biggest deal in the world, but maybe the Giants should bring some type of competition in there. At least bring a 4th QB in. But he did get a little banged up at the end of the game. I don't know what the injury is. Other notes I have, Rodarius Williams struggled. They were playing at nickel, and the beat reporters were saying that he hasn't played nickel at all in practice. But he struggled. But part of that is the Giants aren't going to be running anything crazy or maybe not a ton of man. They played a little man, but he definitely struggled. So some of the Rodarius Williams hype should probably calm down a little bit for now. But again, that's his first preseason game in the NFL. So again, you don't ever want to overreact to anything in the preseason. I do think there's a little bit of worry with Parrott. Like, that sack wasn't just bad plays happened. Like, that's a little worrisome. Carter Coughlin, I think you can not pencil him as in the starting linebacker, but like, hey, he's going to make this roster at this spot, and he's not going to be totally lost. And other than that, I mean, your star players, your best star players and your main players didn't really play. Darius Slayton, maybe besides the offensive line, was like the biggest player to play. So let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, to all that good stuff. Maybe I should have done that at the beginning of the video, but oh well. We appreciate you guys. We'll have a podcast out Monday morning, recapping the game, me and Justin, so make sure to look out for that. We appreciate you guys. See you on the next one. Until then, let's go Big Blue.